Hey, what's going on? Welcome to the City of Palm podcast.
We're in it.
You got your host, Danny Lombardo.
And Brian Lombardo.
That's that co-host. Can't forget. We just wanted to start this podcast to...
How'd this idea come about, bro?
Well, you moved back into Florida, and...
For just as a quick intro, I lived in Pennsylvania for 2 years, and I was away from all my friends and family, and me and Danny actually kept up with each other just through talking to each other on the phone or via text, or mainly like online gaming. We just talk, and we'd have all these long talks and just catching each other up on life and shit. And sometimes it would just lead to some really cool conversations, and
yeah,
where to go from there, bro?
Yeah, okay, basically, yeah, I pitched in the idea and we sat on it and then came up with the conclusion. It was cool too. We went out to dinner, came up with, I had written down all these things about the podcast that I wanted to like pitch to him. We sat there for about 2 hours, pitched it back and forth, and came up with something, and now here we are.
We got the gear.
We got the equipment.
We set up the studio. It's not perfect. There's going to be a little bit of echo in our voices. It's not going to be the best audio quality you can get, but we invested in some basic equipment, and we're just getting it started because you got to start somewhere, right?
Yeah, we're basically doing it.
What are our plans, bro? What are our plans for this?
Plans for City of Palm podcast. We basically, episodes will be like me and Brian talking about whatever we feel needs to be discussed that week, and then eventually, we'll get into having guest speakers on, and we're gonna, dive into all that, and basically, branch out into some sort of podcast that I just want to get people's stories heard and have mine and Brian's conversations be heard, because every time we talk, I'm like, dude, if this was recorded, like, if people could hear this, like, I feel like it would be beneficial, some of the stuff we say. Some is just funny, and maybe some people get a kick out of it, but I feel like, especially with your perspective, you're very intelligent, very school smart.
And that's the thing. We both have different mindsets on so many things that it's interesting to hear just me and you discussing things, because we do have different perspectives. I'm more book smart with a lot of things. You're more street smart with a lot of things. So we learn things from each other every single day. And then especially adding guests in here, where we're going to have someone who has a totally different perspective on the things we talk about. And we'll have people who are like interesting in the community, or just friends of ours that we haven't talked to in a while. We just want to shoot the shit with, or, just anyone who we feel like the listener would want to hear from.
Yeah. Yeah. And basically, like, I don't know. I really like fell in love with podcasts, like listening to them 2018 and 2019. And I've just listened to a lot, and I feel like, I feel like we have what it takes to just have like a successful podcast, and we're just gonna, I'm just super glad, like this is fun to me. Like I can't wait to just like get this rolling. I know it's a little, like I probably suck right now. I know. Like,
but it's episode 1.
I know,
it's episode 1.
I'm not speaking properly and everything. I'm just like...
But it's like it all came together, because not only did me and you, like, we have good conversations and we have, like, discussions that are podcast worthy, I feel like. But not only that, but, like, me moving into this place that we're at now and having this perfect room for a studio, us happening to have enough money to pitch to get the equipment we need to start out, having my roommate Kyle, who produces music, he was able to make us that sick beat at the beginning of this. And it's just all kind of coming together, and like we have all the equipment, we have the topics, and we've been speaking with certain people who are already scheduled as guests. You'll see at our ad break, we actually have some people supporting us already. And
yeah, it's amazing, dude.
It's gonna be a good time.
Shout out Lil Biscuit. That's Kyle Claxton, like seriously.
At PROD Biscuit. Prod Biscuit on Instagram. He obviously we're going to shout him out on our Instagram and social medias, and we might even shout him out every episode depending on how we decide to do the intros and outros and such. But yeah, definitely Kyle Claxton was a big part in producing this.
Yeah, he's the man. Dude, can we talk about that skate session we just had?
Let's talk about it.
Gosh, dude, I did not expect that. Seriously, like last night, I didn't want to like talk about this because I didn't want to jinx anything. But like last night, bro, I went to bed at like 2 a.m, and I woke up late for work, and I was just like working all day construction, just thinking about like I can't wait to air the podcast. And then I planned to like come over, air the podcast, and then go skate. So like, and then like it all happened so fast, and I got here, you were already skating, and I was like, all right, let's go skate.
Yeah.
Forgot the water, but it was an amazing session.
Yeah, and it's so funny how great it turned out because the plans changed so much. Because originally we were going to meet up with Jake, and then me, Jake, and Gabe were going to skate, and then you hit me up, and I was like, all right, Danny's down, and then Jake canceled, so it just ended up being me, you, and Gabe, and we weren't even going to go to that skate spot we went to, but then we're like, yeah, we'll go for a little bit, just like chill session. And dude, we killed it.
Braden too, yeah.
Braden too. We invited the man Braden, and I'm probably gonna make an edit out of the clips to post on my Instagram and whatnot. So any listeners who follow Professor Shred on Instagram will be able to see that. But yeah, you did two tricks you've never done off anything. You did it off that gap.
Yeah.
And that first try heel flip. For those of you that don't know skating, me and Danny might bring that up quite a bit, but it's so sick, dude. That's also like after I moved, because we've been in skating our whole life. Especially me, I've skated like for years and years and years. But whenever I moved to Pennsylvania, that was like sort of like something that me and Danny always talked about. Whenever we would link up, like whenever we'd catch up over video games or the phone or whatever, we'd always like update each other on our skateboarding, like tricks we learned and things we've been working on. And I had a really bad injury while I was living there, so we talked about that every single day and how my recovery was going. And now we're here, man.
Now we're here. It's amazing. Yeah. So, as much as I don't want to jump back into an intro, I do feel like I have to give a little more about myself.
Yeah, let's get it, dude.
People who are listening, they're like, who is Danny Lombardo? So, basically, Danny Lombardo, 21-year-old guy from Southwest Florida, living down in Fort Myers right now. And I'm happily married to the love of my life, Brianna Lombardo now. And yeah, we've been together coming on 7 years, and we got married when we had been together for 6 years, so we're coming up almost on being married for a year now. We've lived together since then, and it's been great. Like, I really shout out her too.
And her influence on this whole thing too, because she's all about social media.
I couldn't have done any of this without her support for sure. But yeah, and then like Brian said, I skateboard. That's my one passion. My day job, I'm a construction worker, general contractor with my dad. But yeah, skateboard, that's my passion. Riding dirt bikes. I love like the outdoors, everything like that. And yeah, Brian, what about you?
Before I do my intro, I actually forgot one thing we're gonna do with all of the guests, or as many as people who want to cooperate. We're gonna ask them what their favorite like sort of snack thing is, so we can have something provided for them here.
Right.
We got the mini fridge behind.
We're
hoping that we can edit this so that you can't hear the humming of the mini fridge behind me, but we want to keep that hooked up because we're going to have the food and bevs provided.
Those ice-cold beverages.
No matter what they want. But so I got to say, I actually have a bev for you today, Danny. I don't know if you're going to like it, but let me grab it.
No. Okay. Is that a San Pellegrino?
I see this at Aldi every day, and I know you like the Italian water. I realized it's sparkling water. So this is just our brand of Italian sparkling water. I realized it was sparkling after, because I know you just like that Italian mineral water. Yeah. And I saw it was sparkling, and I was like, screw it. I'm sure he'll still drink it. And if you don't like it, I'll drink it.
Yeah. I will tell you, I'm not a fan of sparkling water, but I will try it. I will try it. Should I try it now?
Try it now. Got some ASMR. Got some ASMR bottle opening.
It's all good.
This is a testament to Aldi, too. Let's test their brand.
A little bit straight out, but hey, that's nice.
But while he's trying that, I'll jump into my intro. Speaking of Aldi, so I'm Brian Lombardo, Danny's older brother. I'm 23 years old. It's crap.
Yeah, you can add that one.
Damn it!
I did want to say, though, I appreciate
Hey, no problem, dude. We got many episodes from here on, so we'll just supply the bevs. Yeah, screw that, bro. I don't like LaCroix or any of that sparkling water stuff. It's just like spicy water for me. I don't like it. But anyways, I'm Brian Lombardo, Danny's older brother, 23 years old. We're into pretty similar stuff. I'm a skateboarder. I'm an artist. I do art under the name Professor Shred on I have a YouTube account. I make videos on YouTube. I post stuff on my Instagram all the time. I have a personal Instagram, Professor Shred, and then my art Instagram, which is Shred Grip. That's sort of like my art brand that I sell things through, and I make grip tape art just to customize people's skateboards and whatnot. And a lot of people in the community have been digging it, which is pretty sick. And I'm trying to just keep going, especially I'm in this new house now. We got the studio, trying to just keep it rolling. I worked in restaurants for most of my life. I was a manager at a burrito place, Moe's Southwest Grill, and now I moved to Pennsylvania and got a job at Aldi, which is like a German grocery store. And it's pretty sick. It's paying the bills right now. Like Danny said, I'm really not trying to do the 9-to-5 thing for my whole life, just because we do have so many passions and talents. We're really trying to just like, at this point, this age in our life, like we're at this age where we're in our prime, sorta, like physically and mentally. So I really want to use this time to really just put as much into our passion as we can. And if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. You know, we are talented at what we do for a living, but we want to be talented at what we're passionate about. So if we could do anything like this for a living, that's what it's all about, man. Art and podcasts and video making and all that stuff. You got any topics, dude?
I do have some topics that we can dive into.
We can dive into them if the intros are all wrapped up.
I believe they are. Let me check what we do. Although I may add, I have also worked in restaurants. This is my first year doing construction. It was kind of like, I feel like I was raised in a restaurant. I was like working in it from the time I was 15. And I still do. I pick up a couple night shifts at a country club. I just want to add that in there because there's probably going to be multiple stories coming from there. Because it is my third year there, and it's something else, that's for sure.
Yeah, we might have segments where we just have to rant about certain experiences, especially me because I mean you're still in the restaurant, but I'm in Aldi every single day, and that's my main job. Is I deal with people all the time. So many stupid situations.
Yeah, and I can imagine that's customer service.
Alright, what we got, dude?
Alright,
This is just the first episode, so we're just trying to figure out how we're organizing it, and we're just, we're always gonna have topics on hand, but we're mainly just gonna kind of go off the top of our head, just shoot the shit, catch up with each other on things that happen in our day, and a lot of times we'll just have a main topic that we're just gonna handle for the length of the podcast.
Yeah, okay, I don't really know. Honestly, kind of looking at this, I realize all my topics are ass, but like honestly, I'm just gonna go off. Like I'm just gonna rip it, man, and have a conversation with you. I don't know if I've talked to you about this or if I was talking to someone that I work with, but have you seen the Fire Festival documentary on Netflix?
I haven't seen I heard all about that. Like, I listened to a podcast that they talk about it a lot, but I didn't watch the documentary.
So you're a little bit informed, though.
A little bit, but if you have information from the documentary, I'm not very informed.
Oh, dude, I watched the entire thing. Did you hear about it from, it happened in 2016. Did you hear about it then? Did you hear about it?
So here's what I know. I know, because a lot of the details, I heard about it back when it happened, so, my details are kind of, gone fuzzy. But, so it was some sort of event that was being advertised by some dude, and I know that there were, famous people that supported it, Ja Rule was the big name, the people who were backing it. And then it was very expensive to get a ticket, and there was all these things that were promised. I don't remember any specific examples, but I remember so many things were promised. It was going to be this big-ass thing.
I'll just wrap it up for you. Because you got the gist of it.
Okay, good.
Yeah, so that's basically it. It was Billy McFarland. He's a multimillionaire. He was the owner of a thing called reminisce, which was supposed to be a millennial credit card thing. I think it came out in 2016, and it was kind of like Cash App rewards thing that they offer. How you can get rewards, cash back on stores and stuff like that. So it has its perks to get and bank through that. So that's Billy McFarland and Ja Rule. They were the guys who hosted it. So basically, they wanted to throw a huge festival, the biggest festival in the Bahamas, and they had no plan. It's hilarious, dude. They literally were just okay, yeah, they had money. Okay, so they got 10 of the world's best looking supermodels. And very famous supermodels, Hailey Baldwin, that was truthfully the only one I've ever heard of, but I guess they all are super famous. So they basically went to the Bahamas, I forget, it was somewhere, if I'm not mistaken, in Exuma, which is an island in the Bahamas, Grand Exuma I think it's called. And they had bought this island, and they went to they were gonna host a festival there. And they went there for a weekend and shot this crazy video that cost all this money for a commercial for it. Commercial dropped and was like you said, promising all these things. The tickets were mad expensive, but it was basically the getaway. You look at Dan Brazilian and all these superstars, rich people who were just living life every day on a jet ski or whatever, like going and traveling. So this was supposed to be like the ultimate music festival that had all that incorporated. Like you would take a nice little like private plane to like an old school type like propeller plane to the island. They'll drop you off there. You're supposed to get like a super nice cabin, like not cabin, Havana type thing.
Yeah.
Deal, like real. They made it look all real nice, promising all this stuff. And then they had like, I think Kendall Jenner's yacht or something was going to be there, and you could stay on that, and that do tickets for that were literally $250,000.
Wow!
And so all these social media influencers and everybody were like buying into it, and it was highly advertised, like 45 days left, you know, and then on the other side of it, like nothing was working. Like they were advertising all this cool stuff, but then like you see in the documentary, they didn't have a plan. Like they were trying to figure out, okay, you bought this island, there's no water, there's no like Wi-Fi, there's no like place for like these people to do everything. So they started like building like nonstop throwing. I forget what the numbers were. I think the entire thing cost $38 million. I want to say. I don't know though. I could be like that could be really low. I know it was so much money. I was like, that's insane. Basically bought an island and they started doing all this work to it like in no time, and then like the last second they like had to switch islands, and so they like had to switch islands, and they couldn't do it on this island. I think it wasn't big enough or something to like hold it, and they had to. It was a long time that people were staying there. I think it was like a week or two, and basically they didn't have enough money. Everything was crazy. I don't want to like get into the whole thing because it's crazy. I highly suggest you watch the documentary, but like it was so funny to watch. Like nobody had a plan, and basically when everybody got there, like it was nothing like they promised. They all took like the lowest class plane. Everyone boarded this low class coach plane, flew there, and then drove like in some weird sketchy bus all the way there. Like first they were at this bar actually getting liquor like poured down their throats, just getting them like super drunk. And like on their side, you could like, watching the documentary, it's not ready yet. People are literally at the island and they're still like trying to they have like tents and shit, no food. They weren't able, like the catering people didn't show up. No musician showed up. Literally it was a deserted and people were stuck there. You couldn't leave the island. So these people were eating cheese sandwiches, all these celebrities, bro, supermodels, sleeping in tents and eating cheese sandwiches and that's the Fire Festival. And the guy, Billy McFarland, ended up doing, I forget the exact numbers, but if I'm not mistaken, I think 6 years in prison and like some crazy amount on probation, and he can never I don't know. They all got like the rough end of it, but I'm just like, dude, it's crazy because I remember in 2016 looking at that like, oh, the Fire, that'd be so sick to go to, and then looking now like that's insane. I never even knew tickets were that expensive, but that's insane. These people were just like, how can we get rich quick? Like, get even richer. And what's crazy is, I think, watching it, I think the intent that Billy had was, he wanted to make it happen.
Yeah.
But with everything that happened and all the complications, and it was too late to back out. He's like, if I back out, I lose way too much money. So he's like, we just need to make this thing happen. Literally, he was doing everything he can to make this thing happen, and yeah, it happened, I guess. But
all those details are fucked up, but dude, if I were, I always think, because I'm not one to, really dream about, a big, luxury resort getaway for vacation or whatever, but if I ever was gonna drop, thousands of dollars to go out and, do some sort of thing like that, bro, the one thing, other than just, whatever scenery I'm deciding to go to, the one thing that I would look forward to is the meals, dude. I would look forward to, because if you're paying that much, you're gonna get, meal vouchers and all, whenever we go to Universal and stuff, that's, we get the meal vouchers and whatever so that we can just, eat and eat and eat, because that's part of it for me. But dude, eating cheese sandwiches, I fuck with cheese sandwiches too. But dude,
no, they were cold, literally just 2 pieces of bread.
In a school cafeteria,
school,
when you don't have enough money.
Yeah,
you get the cheese sandwich. It's like a block of cheese,
right?
So for some reason,
yeah. Growing up for me, I hated that because I hate cheese. I'm like, how are you gonna give me this? I would not take it ever. Can't.
Oh my gosh. One detail I need to add, I know this whole first episode is kind of becoming intros, but, it is pretty important that I am college educated. I haven't graduated yet, but I am going to school for English and minor in education, and everything got put on hold once I moved to Pennsylvania, but my degree is pretty much done, and I'm going to be finishing up soon. But
the guy's a genius. He's modestly, it's like, he won't tell you that. I'm sorry, but what'd you graduate high school with? What was your GPA?
All right. Wait, my weighted GPA, because I took so many like dual enrollment classes, and I was in an ACE program through Cambridge in the UK. So a lot of my classes were weighted my GPA. So I graduated with I think like a 5.2, 5.1 or something.
Okay,
and
anyone who does not know that, for anyone who doesn't know how GPA works, all 4 years of high school.
Don't quote me on that because I don't know that for a fact.
All 4 years of high school, if you got an A in every single class, every single quarter, every single year, you would graduate with a 4.0 GPA.
Yeah.
And this man graduated with a 5 point something. Because all those weighted college. He graduated and had not only a high school diploma, he had an associate's degree, associate's degree in college.
Yeah, almost. Yeah. I could have. If I would have taken all of the classes I could have possibly taken. I took enough to where I did get my my ACE diploma. I got the degree through Cambridge or whatever, but it didn't, because I didn't take like quite enough credits in it. I didn't like quite make it to associate's degree, but all the classes I took, like, I took, because once you start college, you have to take like the general education classes, like you have to take Comp 1, you gotta take like basic, like college algebra type stuff, and all these like kind of just like BS classes that aren't going towards your degree, just so you can get your associate's degree. But I had pretty much all of that out of the way. I had to take a couple, like I took like psychology, and I think I took a couple. I think psychology is the only one that I had to take, and then that wasn't towards my degree, and then the rest were just classes I had to take for my college. Like they required you to take like this art and humanities class sort of thing, and I did all that. But yeah, I pretty much had my associate's degree, and then I'm excited to go back to school. I paused it so that I could go to Pennsylvania for that situation, but I did end my college with a 4.0 GPA, so I'm hoping when I go back they'll be paying me to go there because I was top 10 percentile, motherfucker.
That's how to do it, dude. And yeah, and I remember your drive in high school too. Like I was just like, what is this kid on? Because you would come home and like immediately start doing homework, and that right off rip, I was like, wait, okay, that's crazy to me because I just did school for 6 hours. Give me an hour to chill at least. And then this man, I'd leave, go play with friends or something, hang out, and I'd come home at who knows when, 8 or 9, and this dude's still doing homework. And I'm like sometime, not every night, but majority. And it didn't stop in college. In college, same thing. I'd get home, dude, and this dude would I'd be like, yo, Brian, what's up? On his bed, book open, face passed out reading a book. Like he would read books in like days.
Because I've always been like my mindset when it comes to academics and all that. I don't necessarily care that much about like the classes. Like I always try to do the best in whatever I do. So if I'm taking a class, I'm gonna try to like follow the instructions and do the lessons and do the homework so that I can like get the most possible points or whatever. But like the way I've always worked is like hard, like work before play, sort of. So like even on days where I would go skate with everyone, like Zach, older brother Zach, him and his friends would pick us up from high school and we'd go skate. There were some times literally in Gabe's van I would do my homework. Like I would do I would do my algebra homework because it had to get done, but I really wanted to skate. So I was like, all right, let me just knock this out on the drive and then whatever. Or sometimes I would just like get home and then they were going to be picking us up or we were like going to go skate very soon after. So I would just go ahead and knock out my homework real quick and then go skate. And that's just always how I've been. And dude, college, because high school was crazy too with all the ACE classes, and I had to take a test, sort of like an SAT type test, at the end of every of my ACE classes to sort of like, because you could BS your way through the class, but the way that to actually get the college credit was to pass that test at the end of the year.
Right.
And there were so many people that got good grades because of BSing, but none of them passed any of the tests, so they didn't get any of the college, credits. So, but I did. I studied for all the tests, and I remember one week, I remember specifically writing in my agenda, my little like planner book, I just wrote Hell Week across it because I had an ACE test every day of the school week, and those tests were intense. They were like SAT, where you go there early in the morning. You only and Cambridge is even more strict, and they've got really wacky rules. Like they had to measure, the proctors had to measure like the amount of space between each desk to make sure that like cheating wasn't possible, and like there was all sorts of crazy stuff. How you had to like seal your answers and stuff, and you could only bring like a number 2 pencil and a specified calculator. But that whole week I had to do that, and the test lasted for like 5 hours. So I just spent my whole day testing, and then just like the SAT, you don't get your results until after. But I passed them, bro. I think I passed every single one that I took, and got all the credits and whatnot. But no, and that was hard. But the grind in college was even crazier. Like you were saying, that circumstance where like I'd just be passed out with books in my face. That's when I started drinking coffee because my flow was I would go to class pretty much every day of the week. I'd go to, and I still had a full-time job at Moe's, mind you. So like I would go to class at like 9 a.m. That's when class started. No. I think it started at 7. Yeah, and then it would go till 9. So I'd get there at 7, and then it would go until 9. I'd immediately go to the library, and there was a Starbucks in my library. And I'd just get a coffee, get an espresso, hot chocolate or whatever, because I didn't really like the taste of coffee. And then because I was an English major, my main workflow was like reading and analyzing text and like literature, and a lot of it was super dry. And you can't possibly do that if you're tired. You're gonna fall asleep. There's no way you can pay attention. So I had to get coffee. But it was cool. Like it was hard work, and like I still try to do shit like this throughout my
I know.
Yeah, like I got so many like passions that I work on, but. And that's why I'm glad that I went about school the way I did, because I'm used to like working all day, reading as much as I possibly could. There was some days where...
And I feel like it instilled your drive now, because like even Kyle, your roommate, was telling me, he was like, dude, I look up to Brian. He's like, this man wakes up at like, I don't even know what time you wake up in the morning. 3 in the morning.
3 a.m.
To go to work and not, okay, all right. You wake up and then you do a workout real quick. Like you do like a little ab workout or something, and
I'm proud of it, man.
And then you get home and you grind out like you're straight grinding.
Like here's my busiest day. Like I don't do this every single day, so I'm not gonna pretend like I do. But typically I do open at my new job, and an opening shift starts at 4:30. So and I work an hour away. So what I do is I wake up at 3 a.m. I do an ab workout that takes like 15 minutes, and then I just like have my breakfast and coffee and stuff, and then leave for work at 4. Or like, in an amount of time to get there in time. Get there around like 4:30, 4:45, and then I usually work until like 2 or 3. And then on my busiest days, I'll like if I have a lot of art I need to catch up, or if I really have like skating plans, or I'm gonna film a video or something, I'll spend the rest of my afternoon doing that. Like I'll pretty much just get home, eat something, and then like go ahead and get started like on art and stuff. And then on my busiest days, after all of that, I'll go to the gym and then like have an actual workout or whatever, and then get home and just pass the fuck out.
And that's the way to do it. That's the way to succeed, which is something I do want to get into. But real quick, do you think we should do an ad break?
Yeah.
Just now, because I feel like the next topic I do want to get into, it's going to take longer than 2 minutes. So we should.
Yeah. Let's save it for after. Let's go ahead and pause real quick, and we are gonna let y'all know who's supporting us.
All right. Who likes light bars? Who likes light bars? Who likes rock lights? Who likes accessory vehicle lighting? This one's for you. FCK Light Bars is a company that they're based out of California, and they're actually somewhat newer, and they're making all these cool light bars. And they're better than just average light bars because they offer all these color schemes, and you can Bluetooth it to your phone. You can change the colors. You can change each panel, so you can have one color green, one color blue. It's crazy really what you can do. And with all the lighting too, if you want, I just got lights for the wheel wells of my truck, and they light up like my tires and everything. And those are really cool. If you want to get those, I highly suggest them. They're super cool, super bright. And yeah, so if you want that, you can head over to FCK Light Bars. They got an Instagram, and you can head over to fcklightbars.com, and you can use my discount code COPP. That stands for City of Palms Podcast, and that'll get you 15% off your order, which I think is a pretty good start, considering those things. I mean, you can get something for cheap. They also have a lot of cool apparel, but I wouldn't recommend cheap lighting, and so I mean, they do cost definitely. I would say over $100 for sure.
Yeah, but you get what you pay for with that.
But you get what you pay for with that. Yeah, exactly. And 15% off. Dude,
that's a big chunk.
COPP. Go cop that with discount code COP. 2-piece. Thank you. And thank you. Thank you guys for listening. diving into the next topic, it kind of goes hand in hand with our previous topic, is I want to ask you and get your opinion on this. Why do you think people succeed at what they do, at their dreams or something that they're passionate about? Like, what makes them succeed? What makes a successful person?
Yeah, I definitely got opinions on this because I think about this every.
And I feel like you have that successful drive. You have that what it takes. I feel like we both do.
Yeah, and so like whenever I think about it, I always I try to think about what it means to succeed and like what success really is. Because some people would obviously some people fixate on like monetary success and how much money you're making, and they look on the figures. And if you're making 6 figures, then you're a successful person or you're in a successful career or whatever. And I think that that's true. That is definitely a marker for if you're successful or not. But and it might be cheesy, but honestly, the biggest marker of success is how happy you are. And whenever I think about the word wealth, it doesn't just mean your what's in your bank account. It means just how wealthy you are as a person, what sort of relationships you have, and what's your mental state, and just kind of your how you're doing in general in life. Because I feel like a lot of people, even wealthy people, they're not necessarily successful because, for one, they might be wealthy for reasons that don't interest them. You know, they might have come into wealth, or they might be succeeding in a job that they don't even necessarily care about or like or whatever, and they're still doing that 9-to-5 grind and just working for the weekends or whatever. So you kind of can't talk about money too much, but when it comes to what makes someone successful, like you were just saying, it's just about how you go about things. And I do think that we both have it. Not to say that we're these successful dudes or whatever, because I don't think we're that successful yet. But I think that we're on our way because no matter what we do, we try our best, you know? Whether we're just, and I always learned this, ever since me and you just started one of our first legit jobs as busboys at the local Mexican restaurant. Mm-hmm. And now it's just us getting our toes wet in the waters of the tourist industry around here and all the restaurants and stuff. And we've since been in so many different restaurants and whatever. But we've always had that mindset of not only these are the rules and we need to follow them, and this is how we need to get the job done, and these are the tasks that we need to complete, but we're always thinking about how to do it better, you know? Mm-hmm. If some people just take a task at face value, but it really takes a lot to kind of understand how you're going to make the job more efficient, or how you're going to be the best at what you do. And even if you're just rolling burritos at a restaurant or whatever, it's important to care about that. It's important to care about customer service, and it's important to care about how much money the restaurant's making, and to not just clock in and just do whatever you need to do to not get yelled at and then clock out and go home and play video games or whatever. It takes a lot to actually focus on your job and to realize what you're doing wrong and to correct it. And we do that in our just regular 9-to-5 jobs every day, and we're also trying to do that just as people, you know? We're two people who we take criticism well. We're good at we understand that we have flaws, and when someone points one out to us, it doesn't mean that they're attacking us. It just means that that's something we need to work on, you know? And whether we realize the flaw our own, or if someone does have to just straight up tell you, hey, you're not good at this, or you really need to work on this. And it hurts, you know? It does hurt when people say that, especially if it's in the workplace. If someone's telling you aren't doing something right, or you suck at it, or you're not fast enough, it hurts, and it makes you bitter. But at the same time, you have to take that and then realize that there's truth in it. Even if they're just being assholes, there's probably truth in it, or maybe absolute truth, and you do really, really suck. And we're two people that you take that and you you do whatever you can, do whatever's in your power to be better the next day. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah.
I feel similar to that too. I feel what makes a successful person, like you said, is that drive, you know? You just gotta have that, dude. And you gotta attack whatever it is you're passionate about. You have to attack that, aggressively as you can.
Me and you used to always watch that one video that went around the internet for a long time about that guy's speech. I don't remember what it was taken from, but they used it in all sorts of videos online.
When you want to breathe, or when you want to succeed as much as you want to breathe.
That's right.
Then you'll be successful.
Yeah, and I realized that whenever we're kids, you think that that's true. But now that you're adults, you really realize what that means, because you have a job that you go to every day. And there's certain people that we know, I won't name any names, but there's certain people that work these full-time jobs and then they're too tired to do anything else. And I understand it's tiring, you know, especially you're someone, Danny works 2 jobs. He works every day at a construction is a, you know, you work general labor with construction company. So you do that from early in the morning until midday every single weekday. And then some of the days of the week you go to the restaurant after that, just because
every Tuesday and Thursday.
Because you want success more than you want to take a nap, and you want success more than you want to go out drinking with your friends or whatever. You want success more than any of those other things.
Oh yeah, yeah, for sure. And I felt that too, like we were talking about earlier. That I heard that speech as a kid. When you want to succeed as bad as you want to be. But I've actually felt that now. Like I'm 21 now and realizing I work construction for 8 months now, and I've realized it's cool and I'm glad I'm learning the trade. I also would like to go to mechanic school and learn that trade. I've always wanted to do that. I'm really into fixing cars and stuff. I want to go get certified, but those aren't things I want to do, you know, for the rest of my life. I would go absolutely insane if I had to work construction for the rest of my life. That's hands down, because I don't love it. I want to do something. I want to work, and I want to do something I love. And like this, if I can get successful off this, if we can get successful off this, like,
and that's success because because we're in this circumstance where me and you work hard at what we do. We have successful careers ahead of us. Like if I wanted to become a store manager of Aldi or some higher up manager of Aldi, I could do it. If you wanted to become a construction foreman or like own your own company and get your own licenses to do your own work for people, you could definitely do that. You will get the skills and you will be able to do that in your life. But like you said, like that's not what success is. And we're in this point where like we have those paths in front of us and they're possible, just like any other path is possible. Like me following a career in, like if I wanted to try skateboarding or I wanted to try like full-time writing or full-time art, or you wanted to pursue auto mechanics. Like all these things are in front of us and they're possible. We realize this because of the jobs that we've had and the success that we've had in those jobs, that if you put enough dedication into it, you can get good at it. But like we're in the point where we're trying to decide what it is we want to do and what is going to make us successful. And like sometimes you got to jump off a limb, you know what I'm saying? Like there's a point, I feel like everyone has a point in their life where they like have a choice to make, whether they want to settle or they want to like take a risk and see what happens, you know? And a lot of times it doesn't work. A lot of times it, like, you know, especially people who want to be entertainers or any sort of like musicians or actors or things like that. That's a very, very hard industry and so many people pursue it that there's so many people who fail, and that's okay. But the fact that you took the jump, you know, and we're at the point where we're just trying to take a jump. We're trying to put everything into this. We're trying to, even if it means getting 2 hours of sleep. The other night I just got 2 hours of sleep tomorrow night I'm getting 2 hours of sleep because I'm going to the place that I sell art, the venue, even though I have to open the next day, I have to be up at 3 a.m. I'm going to be there till midnight. I'm going to have my art there. I'm going to make connections with the musicians there. I'm going to, you know, make friends.
Because at the end of the day, that's what you love, you know.
And
you don't love
success.
going to Aldi. Yeah, that is success right there. In a nutshell, dude. I like that.
Yeah, and there's going to be a day, like I said, even if this doesn't work out and even if none of our passions become our full-time careers, we're trying right now. And just like I was just reminiscing about school and about the tough times I had when I had to read 22 books in one semester, that shit was hard. It was hard as fuck. But like I look back on it
and you did it.
I did it. And it made me so much stronger, the fact that now I know I can do that, you know? And
yeah, like signing up for that class, if they're like, yo, by the way, you're going to read 22 books this semester, you may have hesitated. Like,
yeah, and it's like that anyway.
The fact that they threw it on you and you had to do it and you did it, you look back on it like, phew, that's crazy. And
even in jobs, like in the workforce, in the restaurants, we both have experienced very, very uncomfortable situations, and we're like, we're expected to do a job that we don't know how to do, or we're expected to do a job at a certain level, and we're just not there. And
remember tableside guacamole on our first busing jobs? Like our first couple rounds? Oh my gosh.
Dude, I make guac sometimes and think back on like the ways that I did it back then, and I was like, yo, because I understand like how avocados work and how ripe they need to be to like make good guacamole.
They would give us the hardest avocados, and they're like, really? Dude, I'm 15 years old sitting here with two of the hardest avocados, and you want me to mash them with 2 spoons?
2 spoons.
I'm getting nervous, and I remember one time I dripped sweat into someone's guacamole, and I like look up and they're just talking, but I was like, this little 15-year-old like so scared.
I won't add salt to that.
Yeah, right. Skip the garlic salt on that one.
that was the trip though, dude. That job.
It was, man. I remember.
And it's so like we were expected to do that. We first jobs. We were expected not only to be the bus boys, just like the easy little like side work or whatever, we were the tableside guacamole dudes.
Right.
When someone ordered a bowl of guacamole, Danny or I would be rolling up with our little cart with our 4 avocados and then a lime, or with 2 avocados, a lime, and then the little assortment of spices, and we would have to sit in front of the customers and like just awkward ass little 15, 16-year-old kids trying to.
I don't know how to make small talk at that point.
I
like,
know!
Now if I did that, like, what's up, guy? Like, I could do
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
but
more
like, put it on some
charismatic.
15-year-old kid, like.
I remember I probably told you this, but I remember I was like, I think I'm gonna like think about jokes or like tell jokes like at the table, like just like to break the ice, just like tell some jokes.
I think
because it's awkward
It's
if you're just
awkward.
sitting there. Especially some people are so grumpy, and a lot of them are foreign, so they don't like care to talk to you because they don't really speak good English or whatever, or they're just tourists. And so like you're just sitting there awkwardly doing that, but you had to do it. It was so uncomfortable, and the most uncomfortable I've ever been. I don't know what like your most uncomfortable situation is at a job or like restaurant workplace, but whenever I went to Pennsylvania, and so many stories about that Mexican restaurant. So right when I moved to Pennsylvania, I didn't know where I was going to work. I just moved there, and my girlfriend at the time was going to school, and that's like pretty much the only plan we had. I had applied for jobs and like saved up money and stuff in advance to plan, and I had like a couple restaurants lined up to go do an interview and like submit my application and whatnot. But one of the first days we were there, I went to the first on the list, which was Mad Mex burrito place, because I figured I have all sorts of burrito experience. But this was an actual like line cook position, which Moe's is an open like line where the customers see you. It's sort of like Subway, where it's more like a customer service type environment than like an actual line cook grinding experience. So I wasn't a line cook. I didn't understand any of that. And it tripped me out because I went in there to apply. Delaney was waiting in the car. I had the car on, just waiting for me to like put in my application. And they had me start that day. So I just went out to the car and I was like, hey, I guess you can go home or like go to the mall or something because they gave me a shirt. I'm starting now. And dude, I just went back into the kitchen. They're already busy as hell. They're like so busy because they just opened. They were like a new restaurant and they were slammed. And the dude, his name was Fish. I remember his name was Fish. Cool guy. But he introduces me to the line, shows me like a couple things, and then he just starts putting me, what's the name of the position that like?
Middle.
The middle, the
you
one that.
swing it to the expo?
Yeah. So I was swinging, and I didn't know, so get this, I'd never been to Mad Mex, so I hardly even knew what sort of food. I knew they served Mexican food. That was about it. I didn't know the menu at all. Not one bit. Never been there before. Didn't know anything about like expoing and plating and like doing all that as a line cook at all. And they had me start as that position.
And that is like one of the hardest positions.
Yeah, and I feel like that was kind of on them because like I kind of feel like I should have just been like a helper for the first day or something like that.
Maybe wash or something.
I just walked in off the road. They just give me a shirt like, here, do one of the most important positions on the line. And people were pissed at me. And I remember going home so sad that day because we have that drive of like we want to be good at what we do, and like I cared about it. I care about being good at what I do. So like. With them pulling me off the line, I remember them saying, get this kid off the line. And I was just like, I'm trying, man. I really am. But I just don't know. I don't know.
Right.
Yeah, I've been here for 10 minutes. I don't know anything. But they're all just, and I understand, like, the line cook, that whole, like, back of the house is just a real stressful environment when they're so busy. So, like, they weren't being jerks or whatever. They were just, like, frustrated. But that was so uncomfortable. And not to mention, like, having to, once I got my better job, I had to go straight to face-to-face talk with the head of the kitchen there and tell him like, hey, I got a better paying job, I need to leave. And because he was like going out of his way to like give me raises and like try to make sure I got the hours I wanted and stuff like that because I lived far away. So he was like trying to consider the fact that I drove a lot. And he was kind of going out of his way for me. So it was really, really stressful to have to do that. But you got to, like, and all throughout life you realize as an adult, there's these things that are so uncomfortable and they're going to make you so scared to do. Like, like getting a loan for the first time or like buying a car or like doing any sort of these like deal sort of things where it's legit adult like stuff. And it's so scary. But like once you do it, dude, you gotta do it. You gotta do stuff that makes you scared.
I remember I have a similar story. Like it was recently too, like before I had gotten the construction job or before I even gotten the landscape job. I was looking for a job because the country club, it's seasonal, so it was about to end. It was coming May. I needed a job. Like, what can I do? And I was like, okay, I'll go back in the kitchen. I hadn't been a line cook for years. I was a line cook from when I was like 17 to like 19, and then 17 to like 18. I was a line cook for about a year. No, I'm lying. A year and a half, but I started when I was 16. Okay, that's all I'm saying. And then, so I'm starting at this place called The Saloon. and I walk up to apply. I remember I had got the job, and they're like, okay, because I had mad restaurant experience. They're like, okay, you get the job, you start like this Monday or whatever, coming at 5. They gave me the clothes to walk in to wear. So I walk in the back door, and I'm like sketching, bro. I got this folder in my hand, like all the paperwork that I filled out, and I'm just mad nervous. And I walk in, and nobody's in there. And I was just gonna lay the paperwork on the desk, and I was gonna walk out. And I did. I laid the paperwork on the desk, and I walked out, man. And I was gonna just like tell if they called me, I was gonna be like, look, I'll walk back there. Nobody was back there, so I left the paperwork there, and I did. And I walked all the way back to my truck, and I said, man, what are you doing? Like, you need this job. I don't care if you're nervous. Like, go back in there. You know people are in there. Yeah. If you walk past the office, you know there's going to be people in the kitchen. I just did not want to. I was so, like, uncomfortable. And I did it. I went back in there, and I watched him. I was actually doing the middle position. That's funny you say that. But they started me right. I was side by side with somebody else, and I had already had like restaurant experience. So once I did that, it wasn't anything crazy. I wasn't super crazy. I didn't go back though after that day. I realized I was like, I'm not really trying to do this again, because just being a line cook is stressful.
Yeah, it is. It really is. And it like that's a good transition, because like another thing that we wanted to talk about was what makes someone fail, right? Like what makes someone a failure.
Yeah.
And I think that the difference is the exact opposite, where if this person who is a failure, or like that type of person, if they were in our position, where if they had the choice to go back in that restaurant and like face your fear and just like man up, if they had that choice, they would choose the opposite. They would choose to just keep going. And I think about that all the time working at Aldi. Like, we have a pretty big turnover rate as we try to hire people. And I think people underestimate what kind of job it is. I did. I thought that it was just like some chill grocery store job where you just like bring people out at the cash register, or like stock a shelf. But it's way more than that. But we have these people that they'll get hired and they'll work for a little bit or whatever, and then they just won't show up again. And that is what it is. The job isn't for everyone. But what makes it like embarrassing for them or whatever, it makes me like think of them as like, wow, that's someone who's just like setting themselves up to fail in life and to never reach success, is like just the fact that they avoid these scary things. Like I had someone have their boyfriend return the keys, because you get keys to the break room in the office at Aldi, and she worked there. She seemed like she was doing good. She worked there for like a week. She seemed like she was pretty like peppy, like ready to learn. But then she just one day just no call, no showed, and obviously that's termination. And but instead of like calling or even like coming and giving us her keys herself, she had her boyfriend come to the store and drop the keys off. And then, and it's like, even if, you know, like it takes heart to you know, it takes courage to like get up there and admit like, this job isn't for me. So here's my keys. I'm sorry, but you can take me off the schedule. Mm-hmm. Even if you don't put it in 2 weeks, I'm not going to like judge you as much, because you came in here and you told me the truth, because the job isn't for everybody. I'm not going to be like, oh, you're just a bitch or whatever. Like, this job is easy and you're just lazy or something. Like, it's not. And it's not for everyone. If you're just not feeling it, you're not feeling it. But there are these people that just make the choice to not face that. They get scared because it's scary. Life is full of these scary things that make you so uncomfortable. And if you're the kind of person that just shies away from that, if you're the kind of person that just doesn't answer the phone when there's an important phone call, or never make the call when there's an important phone call to make, if you're that kind of person, then you're setting yourself up to never reach success, you know? I think that's what makes a failure.
Yeah. I was, like I said, I was just doing research and, like, looking up stuff, and I came across something interesting, and I'd never heard of this perspective before, but what I came across is, okay, so someone had this answer. It's because I have about the same answer as you as to why, what makes someone fail. I mean, that's about it. Now, this guy said, I think it's because what if they're doing all the right stuff, the right work, they're putting in the work, but their work isn't getting reviewed by the right people, and they're not hearing the right feedback. That'll drive someone to failure, because they're realizing, what the hell, I'm putting in all this work, and that could lead someone to failure, which I want to say, like, will never happen with this podcast. Like, I don't care where this podcast goes. Like, I know by me doing this, like, maybe this isn't my ultimate calling. I hope it is, because I love doing it and it's fun. And I hope this can grow. and like we can have a good following. But even if it doesn't, I mean, there's going to be another way that I can find success. This is just me opening that first window.
Yeah.
Not the first. Obviously, I've had jobs, but this is really something I'm passionate about.
Yeah. And you're taking the leap for the first time.
Yeah, but I'm saying if it doesn't, like, you know, it can obviously will take a long time. But let's say 5 years down the road. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I don't want to say anything, but like, if we don't, like, in 2 years, if we don't have a following, like, it'll be a little, like, not like we'll have a following, but like, if it's not like getting huge, like we've made success, quote unquote, then I'm not taking that as a failure because I'm still having fun though with it. You know, it couldn't have been success. It may not be like a successful podcast where we're getting paid ads and like featured and we're all there on iTunes, Spotify, like we're up there in high charts. But I don't know. I hope that this can lead me to something to where I can, like I told you when I was a kid, like I feel like everyone's had this, but like you have that thing where you're like, I want to be rich, like, but I've always had that, and I was like, I'm going to be rich, I'm going to be successful, and like, I don't care about fame, being famous, but like, I've always wanted money, and I've always wanted to be comfortable, especially just like how we grew up. I've always wanted the opposite. You know, I never wanted to worry about bills. I never wanted to worry about anything. And obviously that's everyone's goal, but I always felt like, man, I can do something with my life.
Yeah.
And like
and you always said, I'm gonna be rich. I just don't know how.
yeah, because it wasn't school smart. I wasn't going to college and getting a degree. That's for sure. But I feel like I'm a person who can. I don't know. I can be somebody, like a speaker.
I think so too. That's why I wanted to do this podcast, because I've been telling everyone this, I strongly feel like the kind of people that we are, not so much me, I'm a little bit more introverted and reserved and like different than you and Zach are, but you and Zach are like naturally funny dudes and like naturally charismatic guys. So like you guys are just so like naturally funny, you know? And like what you were saying about the answer you saw online about not reaching the right years or whatever, I think that's like super true, especially
it was a good perspective. I saw.
Yeah, because I think that there are a lot of people that would call themselves good at what they do, but they never reach success because they don't make the right connections or whatever. And like you were saying with this podcast, it doesn't necessarily like we're trying our best. We might not have like the best equipment, or we might not be like famous already. Like there's a lot of podcasts that are successful because the person's already like a comedian or already an actor or already like some sort of famous figure on the internet in some way. So their podcast is going to like flourish from that because they already have a following. But to start from nothing and to build something is going to be hard, but we're going to try, you know? And even if it, like I said at the beginning, our voice might be echoey now because we don't have the best equipment. We don't have a studio that's completely noise reduced or whatever.
But we did the best we could.
We're doing the best we could.
We dropped the bag on the equipment.
We dropped a bag on the equipment.
Straight
Didn't
up.
make a dent.
Shout out Chris D'Elia.
Shout out, congratulations podcast. But no, like, and but we're gonna try our best to like you and your wife understand social media, and you understand how you need to like keep up with it in order to get your name out there and get your brand out there and get people listening to you or watching you.
Her better than me.
Yeah, she knows that like the back of her hand.
Yeah.
But that's why she's going to be a big help for us, because she understands that we do need to reach the right years, and that's one reason we're really trying to get good guests on here, because not only for us, because me and Danny are pretty interesting dudes. We're pretty funny. But like what's really going to make our podcast get out there is to make these connections with interesting people that have more interesting things to say than we do, and have more funny things to say than we do, and have like these perspectives that are going to be interesting to listen in on, and not only to benefit us, but mutualistically to benefit them, because like I'm thinking about some of the people we have lined up already for guests. They're like local musicians and just figures from around our area that I feel like if they don't reach the right people, they're never going to be successful, because we have seen their talent. We understand the kind of people they are, right, and what they deserve, but they're not necessarily going to get what they deserve if they don't get out there. And they're trying their best on their social medias, but we just want to be sort of like help in any way.
Yeah, work together, dude.
Yeah, work together.
We can all gain success if we all work together as a community, as like a people, as the people, dude. If we work together, like we can all gain success.
Yeah, and everyone's got a story to tell, and that's one thing we're going to do with the City of Palms podcast, is we're going to not only share our own stories and our own perspectives individually as Brian and Danny Lombardo, but we're gonna bring on people who maybe we're old friends with or something, and they have an interesting perspective, or maybe we've never met before, or maybe we've only talked over the internet, or the possibilities are endless. We know people that we already feel like are going to make an interesting podcast, and we're going to keep continuing to meet people. Just like I said, tomorrow I'm going to be at Kava, not only to sell my art and to just have a good time, but I'm going to be there because there are lots of people to know there. I don't feel like I've only scratched the surface of the amount of people I've met in like the Southwest Florida music scene and stuff like that, and it's just going to be cool to see how it all carries out.
It is, man. I can't wait to even just like talk with the guests we have lined up already.
Yeah, I know.
Like,
I'm not going to drop any names yet officially on air, but we've got some people that are going to be I'm hyped that they agreed that they want to talk with us because we have some really cool people lined up. Do you want to shout out the first guest? Or do you just want to keep it
No, we'll keep it private.
We'll keep it private. But I guarantee
when that episode drops, y'all better be listening and tuning in.
You better be here, and we're going to have it all over social media. We're going to have them with their favorite food and drink if they want that, or they can just keep it dry if they want that. It's up to them. I don't know.
Yeah, so wherever you're listening to this, it's either Spotify, iTunes podcast. I do want to let you know that soon, or eventually, maybe if we get a little listening, maybe we get a little more baggage, get some more money, and we're trying to invest in some cameras. We do want to have this running on YouTube. Obviously, I know a lot of podcasts run successfully on YouTube because it's just better it's more interactive when you can like see them. I feel like I personally I only really have time to listen to them because I listen to podcasts while I'm working my day job. But if I had the time to watch them, I would definitely find the time. But 8 hours in a day, I mean, I listen to a lot of podcasts.
Me too, yeah.
Yeah. So,
that's 8 episodes right there, man.
Yeah. So,
yeah.
But yeah, YouTube channel is definitely coming soon. And thank you all for listening and supporting City of Palms podcast. This is the first episode. I know the beginning, man, I was nervous and everything, but like, I found that click and I love this. I can't wait to like.
And I don't know how many ears this first episode is gonna reach, but we're hoping to just keep growing, man. We're gonna be on iTunes for sure. Gonna be on Spotify for sure. And then once we get the camera equipment all set up, we're gonna do that ASAP. We're gonna be on YouTube for sure. And we're already on Facebook and Instagram, and we're just gonna be constantly posting on there too. I kind of think it'd be interesting to put little like clips, especially from guests. Like they're gonna have just little tidbits to highlight on, and we're gonna fill our Instagram feeds with that sort of stuff, and just so you can keep up with us anywhere you listen to things or watch things.
Yep. So you can find City of Palms podcast on Twitter Facebook and Instagram at City of Palms podcast, and eventually, hopefully Twitter. If we get some listeners and y'all want Twitter, I got you on Twitter.
We'll get Twitter. We'll get some fan questions in there. That'd be interesting.
Yeah, that would be interesting.
But Instagram's where it's going to pop off, though.
Instagram's where it's going to pop off. Instagram, I'm definitely mainly active on Instagram, for sure. If you have any questions for anything, you can definitely DM the City of Palms podcast Instagram. We'll get back to you right away. Any questions or any topics that you want to hear us talk about, give your feedback, whatever.
And as we wrap things up, we've been going about an hour now, so we're going to go ahead and wrap it up. I just want to give a special thanks to the couple people that really helped us make this happen. Definitely Kyle Claxton, producer Biscuit on Instagram and Facebook and all sorts of social medias. He produces music, but he's really taken time out of his schedule to help us figure out how to record this audio, how to set up these mics, how to soundproof this room. He's really just with no gain of his own. I don't think he intends to gain anything from this. He just really wants to help us as friends and as, I guess, sort of associates now, because he made this beat.
He's in it, man.
He's in it, just
Shouts
like we
out,
are,
Biscuit.
man.
You're in it, even if you don't want to be, man. You in it to win.
You're in it, man. And then also shout out to the Mrs. Lombardo, Mrs. Brianna husband Lombardo.
You could just call her Bree.
Bree, yeah. But to make it official, bro, thanks to her, man, because she's inspired us, She has to really, she's not, making us beats or whatever, but she's inspired us.
Oh, fuck!
You good?
Oh, I got the nastiest leg cramp.
Oh, shit!
Fuck!
Daddy's just crippled over. You good? You need a massage?
Fuck! Ow! Ow, son of a bitch! Ow, just give me a second. Oh.
Oh my god.
Yo, dude, it's freaking. Yo, it's just going. Oh, it's in the back of my hamstring.
So as we said, the skate session was pretty hard earlier. Danny went a little too ham.
I can't feel my leg. Oh, it hurts so bad. I'm in such a cramped state.
You time to wind it down, bro? Let's go ahead and get some air in here. Let's turn off the mics.
Hold on, it's going away, and I did want to end up with a one last thing. I'm so sorry, so sorry for that.
That was crazy.
I'm
dude.
so sorry
Danny just crippled over in his chair.
I literally moved my leg. I just stretched it barely, and it just the nastiest cramp came upon. Ooh. It's still bad, dude. I'm sorry, guys.
Let's wrap it up.
Thank you for tuning in. Hit us on Instagram. Hit us on iTunes Podcasts and Spotify. Thank you all.
Hit him with that outro biscuit.
Yup.